skiing. And we need better settings in which boys can put their bodies to test in this way. And you know, because you've been involved in it, how passionate boys are about skateboarding. And if we don't build a park for them, they're going to be skating around other public spaces where wherever there's a kind of natural setting. Anyway, you know, Renata, how enthusiastic I am about this particular project, and it's totally congenial with my view of the world of boys.
Well, it's wonderful to hear it from your perspective, because we've been raising money for that skate park, and we convinced over 30 foundations it's important to fund that skate park. But it's wonderful to hear it from an expert, from a pediatrician who has thought a lot about youth development and how important it is. So thank you for showing it from that perspective.
Oh, you're most welcome.
Yes, I think we only have a few minutes left, and will you play another river song for us?
Sure. Well, actually, there was a wonderful New Orleans character who wrote a number of songs that had evocations of the Mississippi. His name was Ferdinand Lamothe, but he went by the name of Jelly Roll Morton.
Oh, he's well known under that name.
An amazing pianist, composer, band leader, and who in one of his songs had a little bit of patter about getting on a steamboat and two people talking, and he had this wonderful and inimitable line, "Hold on, I can still bring on another ham." And it was people who were loading things on the boat for a long journey or to sell further up the river. So anyway, Morton was a great humorist in his way and in this day. But one of the songs that he wrote was called Michigan Water Blues. And of course, there's a rich New Orleans relevance here, because the song basically goes, Michigan water tastes like sherry wine. Mississippi water tastes like turpentine. And of course, it's a nonsense verse, but this is how Michigan water goes.
Wonderful.
A little Michigan water blues.
Michigan water blues, yes. And you know, we talked about these two elements which seem very different and very far apart. But when you did this book, Men, They Will Become, you also, in a way, had a companion CD with it that had jazz music. So
Yes, that's true.
explain of how even how these two things come together.
Sure. Well, in the lead-in to your show, you have some banjo music, and that's my frequent duo partner and trio partner, the great Jimmy Mazzy, who starts with that lovely banjo, a piece with a strong river theme called Muddy Water, also relates to the Mississippi River. But Jimmy and I were asked by the wonderful pianist Butch Thompson to play a concert with him at the Rockport Opera House. And this was the July, just before my book was scheduled to come out in September of 1999. And when Butch called from Minnesota, he's a guy who's on the Prairie Home Companion show a lot with Garrison Keillor, and we played this gig with him in the past. And when he called to say, well, I have this gig coming up on July 23rd, I had just handed in the manuscript for this book. And so my head was full of all of these male character themes, and I wrote back in an email with a copy to Jimmy, yes, I'm free, and further, we might be able to make a CD on these male character themes. And they both said, if you can find a record company, we're all set.
Wonderful.
Well, we found a wonderful record company, and the book publisher, Perseus Books, was just thrilled about the idea of a companion CD because
what a
the
great
book business is so competitive. They thought anything that would help draw attention to the book would be great. And they volunteered to share the cover.
It's the same design, isn't it?
It's the same design, except the subtitle is, where this is called The Nature and Nurture of Male Character, there the subtitle is Jazz Takes on Male Character. And it has these wonderful old blues on it, like he's got to get it, bring it, and put it right here, or else he's going to keep it out there. It's got things like Ain't Much Good and the Best of Men Nowadays. And then some delightful material like I'm Just Wild About Harry that summons up the bustle and physicality of boys and men.
Wow, it's wonderful of how you bring it all together.
And people can, if they're interested, I have a website that I might as well mention, and people can listen to the CD and read chapters of my book there. It's just elinewberger.com.
elinewberger.com. Wonderful. Well, I also want to thank the Boston Foundation that makes it possible to have those programs. And if you want to see this program or other Parkland programs that the Charles River Conservancy is doing, you can find them on YouTube. And just type in Charles River Conservancy and you find it. And so you can listen to more tuba playing, either going to your website or to the Conservancy. And I want to thank you for coming here today, talking about your passion in music, your passion as a pediatrician that helps young men to grow up. So thank you very much, Eli Newberger, for coming tonight.
Well, thank you, Renata.
And good night.
Good night.